welcome to 2021 and the second season of Sit Still and Listen. I'm your host, Beth Cornell, and I'm here with my daughter,
Sarah
my
Cornell.
co-host,
Yay.
Sarah Cornell. Yeah. And today's subject is kind of a crazy one.
We have a new president now.
Right. And it seems like we've turned a page, although there's still some of the last chapter bleeding over.
Yeah, just a little bit.
And, I just wonder, what younger generations think about this. I mean, this is their everyday thing, but for us older folks, this isn't ordinary at all. This is extraordinary.
Yeah. I'm wondering if and when I say young kids, I mean like early teens, like 13 and like 10 years old. I'm wondering if they're going to grow up and like ask, do you remember like for a year and a bit, we had to like wear masks and everybody was really scared? Do you remember that? What was that about? Like, I'm wondering if...
I think a lot of people are going to look back and say, what were those people thinking?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's officially like that, where people weren't wearing seatbelts for extended periods of time, and they were like, why didn't they wear seatbelts? Oh my God, that's so dangerous.
Or doctors recommending smoking.
Yeah.
There was a reason why that shifted and our policies changed, and these kinds of things became impossible. Now, those policies were sort of reversed during the last administration. We had a lot of regulations lifted and a lot of things were loosened up to allow things that were less than scientifically factual to bleed into the mainstream.
Right.
And more than a few people fell for it. And I wonder if that is just a symptom of our busy society where we're too busy to check things out or we're too busy to care. I heard it, so it must be true, and I'm not even going to care about it.
Well, a lot of people, it's the same people who warned my generation about phone calls, like getting a phone call being like, this call is to tell you about your car's extended warranty. Those same people who warned you about those phone calls are now falling for like the QAnon bullshit where it's like, Satanist pedophiles run Hollywood or whatever. Like, and they're like, oh no, that's totally real. That's really real. And I just want to shake them because like they're not living in a reality that they're just not living in reality. They just aren't. And
well, they can't prove it. And that's the difference between what we consider objective reality and there has to be some evidence, and that's where science comes in. And a great portion of people have abandoned science.
Well,
a great portion.
I have a feeling that the same people who have, abandoned science, that their view on it is, well, in 5 years they're going to change what science is. They're going to be like, oh, well,
that's called science.
Yeah, that's science. Yeah, like it changes. That's the point. But the thing is they're looking for like a coverall. They're looking for like this is
definitive. This is it.
Yes. Yeah. This is the way it is, and nothing will change it.
It seems like that falls in with that black and white thinking where everything's right or wrong.
No.
It's a very anything in between is wrong, and or is so undecided that it's just, let's just not go there. That's a sin kind of thing.
Yeah.
That gray area is a sin. There's right and there's wrong. Don't go in that gray area.
Yeah, because there's nothing
you
good
won't
in there.
Come back. Yeah.
There's nothing but sin in the gray area.
Right. And being my daughter, I live in the gray area.
I was born in the gray area, molded by it.
So So that brings us to the first point in our discussion today is that little, as Chuck Schumer said just yesterday, that erection that happened up at the Capitol.
You said that?
he misspoke when he was reading. Yeah.
Well, he's fucking right. They're all a bunch of dicks.
Yeah, so there was like a bunch of dicks running towards this erection, and it happened. They tried to, well, they did.
They stormed the Capitol. They got in. They busted some windows. They stole some shit.
They penetrated the Capitol.
Ew. Ew. Don't say that.
To follow along with the theme.
Ew. Why don't you just say that the carpets were moist on top of it? Just, you know, just
they probably left the carpets moist in there.
Ew.
Regardless, a couple of the big players in that group were from here in Arizona. I'm embarrassed to say.
we got our very own homegrown fucking Arizona man.
Of course, the man's a shaman, because if you're from Arizona, what else would you be?
Shaman? Is that the way you say it?
Shaman.
Yeah. I played too much World of Warcraft, so it's shaman. So,
yeah.
Sorry.
However you care to pronounce it, the end deal is he's in jail, and I think he's going to be there for about 20 years. And no, Trump did not pardon him.
Nope.
Ex-President Trump didn't pardon any of these people.
No. And I don't know why that they were expecting him to. That's my thing. Like, what kind of crazy, deluded, like, thought process must you have where you're like, I will storm the Capitol and I will not get in trouble because the president is on my side and he will make sure that nothing bad happens to me. What? Are you nuts? Like, that is not the cognitive thought process of someone who has the ability to cognitively think.
I think there's a couple different things cognitively that could have happened to those people. I mean, I'm a person who believes that there's compassion in the world, and there's compassion for everybody, including our ex-president. I mean, I read Mary Trump's book, which I think is a very accurate snapshot of his psyche, and I feel bad for the guy. I don't feel bad enough to forgive him for everything he's done. I think he should be held accountable for it.
Absolutely.
But I can see why he is the man he is and how he portrayed himself to the people who did this in such a way that they believed him, and they believed, whether he said that he would pardon them or not, he definitely invited them. That's been witnessed by more than 5. I think there's been more than 5 now people that said that they were personally invited there, and some of them were at the White House actually before this all went down. So I'm pretty sure that he did incite this insurrection.
He did. He absolutely. I mean, you just have to. I could put it in here. Really, of that clip where he's like, "We're gonna walk to the White House, and I'll be there," or "We'll walk to the Capitol, and I'll be right there with you."
Yeah, spiritually, with shamanly, he'll be there. But not physically.
No, because they're a terrifying group of people who are fanatics. Right. They're nuts.
Okay, so let's get back to that. They're crazy because they're mad. They're very upset. And when you're super upset, you can't see what's right in front of you. You can be easily manipulated. When you're really mad, when you've gotten yourself into a tizzy, if you don't know how to put yourself in timeout, bad things are going to happen, not just to you, but to everybody. Anger is a very destructive emotion.
It's so, like, the thing that gets me is like, why are you so angry? You got your guy into the White House. Like, I don't understand why that they were so upset consistently through through his entire presidency, because
he consistently played the victim of something that the Democrats were doing. he consistently was a victim of them, even though what they were doing was being roadblocked and stopped at every turn by him. I mean, so
Yeah.
it's all his show. He's running it, and it's okay for him to just get on the helicopter and
Yeah, peace
queen
the fuck out. Bye.
queen wave it out of here. But the fact remains, he's still a dangerous person, not because of who he is, but because of who these people are,
Yeah.
and that they're still there and they still believe in all the things he said, and the anger that they feel is still there. The anger, that overflowing lava pit of anger,
Yeah, anger leads to
is
hate.
still there. Well, yeah, we know that from Star Wars, don't we?
We do, God damn it! It's just a simple fucking fact. And that's exactly what happened, because these people hate so desperately of everything. They hate so much. And like, I just don't understand. Like, I'm a very considerate, compassionate kind of human being, but like, if you're just gonna randomly start hating everything, it's like we shouldn't pay teachers more because they don't do teaching good. And it's like, okay, well, if they don't do teaching good, how do you expect them to teach good when they don't have money to teach good? Or like the whole Black Lives Matter thing, which I'm a white woman, I'm not really going to touch that very much. I support it, of course, but I mean, good God, being in a peaceful protest and having the president of the United States tear gas the shit out of you and spray you with pepper spray and pelt you with pepper pellets just so he could fucking go take a crappy photo shoot, and then as if insult to injury, here comes these fuckers at the Capitol, and they just walk right up, and nothing happened. Like, one lady got shot, and then I think 3 other people were killed as well in stabbing incidents.
Here and there were 5 deaths. I'm not sure who all they were.
Yeah, all I know for sure is that one woman died because she was climbing over the barricade, and the police officer was like, "Don't do that, or I'm going to have to shoot you." And she just kept going, so he shot her.
Yeah, she was actually trying to come into where there were some senators still exiting. They were in the escape route, and there's more coming out about it, and more chance that some of the people on the inside of the building were helping the people on the outside of the building. I mean, when you look at how it happened and watch some of those videos, that they had to have help because, like you said, the Black Lives Matter people were held way back by a lot of people. There was a lot of security presence.
And I just want to say
it was peaceful until it wasn't based on.
Yeah, until it very suddenly wasn't. And that's just the way that those Black Lives Matter protests went. They came to be peaceful, and it's the other side that consistently escalated it to the point where Black Lives Matter protesters are in armor.
Yeah, but that's what they're saying about us. They're saying that our side, and I say our because I am on the side of peaceful protest, and I'm also on the side of what is democratic, not the party of the Democrats, but democracy, as in have people running this country. This country is a representative republic run by people who represent us. We elect them, and that goes all the way up to the top. And I got involved in our local election because I wanted to see how things happen, and I had every confidence that our state ran this election very well. I mean, I didn't have any qualms about our Maricopa counties,
Yeah. Very safe, I mean, because we
voting process voted,
we voted like right in the middle of COVID as well. Like that was over the summer.
Right. And we've been doing mail-in votes forever here. So, and our guy, Adrian Fontes in Maricopa, he was just very upfront about everything that was happening. And while they did protest a few things and try to recount this, that, the other, nothing came of it because it just is a very uptight system. And I'm sure many other places had similar
Oh yeah, no
people
doubt.
watching people on top of other people watching people.
No
So
doubt.
they can say whatever they want and try to twist people's arm and strong arm like they did in Georgia. But in
You
the
see how
end,
that went.
right?
Yeah, it didn't work.
That's what I'm saying. More and more things are going to come out that we're going to find out that the enablers and the people who repeated the lie and actually amplified the message of hate and anger, you
Right.
know, fanned those flames of anger. You can't hold all of them accountable because there are too many of them.
Yeah.
So
Don't think we'll have this space at the end of the day.
exactly, and I think they're gonna try to do some weird stuff like that one lady from Georgia who is a brand new senator
Stacey
has filed.
Abrams.
No, she's a new senator from Georgia.
I don't think she's even
Stacey,
from Georgia.
yeah, Stacey Abrams is from Georgia, but she's not a senator.
No.
She's working with people to sign people up to vote and help the voting process there,
Yeah.
actually. But this lady, her name's Marjorie something Green. She has
Mm-hmm.
3 names. Anyway, that's not the point. Point is, she filed impeachment paperwork on Joe Biden on like his first or second day of holding office. And it's for something he did when he was vice president. So I don't know if that's going to fall flat or if they're actually going to consider it. But
I think it's gonna fall flat because what, like, would that
it's
even...
one of those things, though, that people put her in there, and that's the first thing she's done as a senator. Is that appropriate? Is that necessary? Is that something that the other side, us, people who want democracy to happen, is that something we would have done?
No, because here's the thing with let's compare the two runners to the 2016 run for President Trump and the run that we just had for Joe Biden, right? Leading up to his eventual election and his inauguration, just that year in 2016, a lot of stuff came out that would have disqualified him from running at all, but it didn't happen.
Right.
He just kept going, and I think John Oliver put it perfectly, where basically, Donald Trump keeps approaching the end of the line, but he never seems to reach it, because for him and him alone, the line is drawn by MC fucking Escher. Because the Access Hollywood tape, that should have been the end of the line. The $130,000 to Stormy Daniels, that should have been the end of the line. His first impeachment, that should have been the end of the line.
Yeah, the 20-something women that accused him of sexual
grab her
assault.
by the pussy thing. Like, right. I mean,
yeah.
That should have been it. There's your sign, but like, fuck it, just run that sign over. Who cares?
The fact that he wouldn't disclose his tax information.
Yep. And he keeps...
Or completely divest from his business.
Yeah, or doing anything to help anybody during the last year of his presidency. I mean, if he truly wanted to get reelected, he would have sat the fuck down and actually done something, because he would have convinced other people, the quote unquote people on our side. I hate
it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to do something for people who don't believe in science when you have to do something that's scientific in order to make a change,
Yeah, and
his base would never go for him doing, things that needed to be done, things that are going to happen now.
Yeah,
You'll see.
But the thing is he would have traded his base for us, and we won. So do you see what I mean? Like
I do.
You
the people who switched over and voted the other side might not have done that. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I want to loop back around really quick before we move on. To the comparison of the Black Lives Matter protesters to the rioters at the Capitol.
Yeah.
Because the way that I've been framing it is that obviously the Black Lives Matter protesters received far more violence than the ones at the riot. I am in no way saying that the rioters needed to be beaten bloody and shot at by rubber bullets. I am in no way saying that. That's not what I want. That's not what should have happened. What I'm saying is, like, it shouldn't.
There just should have been a response period, and
There should have,
not a, oh, you're here at the Capitol, come on in.
Yeah, come on in.
Oh, by the way, do you want to see this room?
Yeah, here's Nancy Pelosi's desk. Put your feet up. Like,
yeah,
no,
have at it.
It's not even that. It's more along the lines of like, just keep people who are supposed to be safe, and when peaceful protesters show up on your streets, treat them with respect and don't shoot them with rubber bullets.
Yeah. And what inflamed the Black Lives Matter movement and people at the time over the summer when there were riots involved and not just peaceful protesting was anger. The whole protest kicked off because of anger. And I think the fact that riots like the burning down of that, I believe it was a Church's Chicken.
Wendy's.
There I go, being racist.
Yeah, hey, whoa, check yourself.
I'm checking myself now.
Thank you.
that Wendy's that burned down was set fire because of anger.
And a lot of other things died. A lot of other things that happened in those protests were like not because of the protesters. It was just people who were in it and just started like there's video.
But Sarah, that's what they're saying was the Capitol insurrection. That's what they're saying. There were other people there.
You're joking.
No, they're saying that. And that would allow us to not believe what was in front of our eyes on the video. Okay.
No, absolutely not. Yeah. Because
during the Black Lives Matter movements, we saw cops beating people.
Yeah, cops
dragging people out of cars.
Undercover cops causing damage in order to incite more anger and violence because they're like, that protester's doing it, I can do it too. But he's actually an undercover cop and he immediately arrests them. There's videos of that.
Yeah.
So like, you can't really compare the two. You really can't because one of them is fighting for basic human rights. The other one is fighting to take away those basic human rights from mainly Black and brown voters.
And there's a big muddying of the whole operation. I want to call it an operation because it seems like that's what it was.
Well, because they were getting fed information from inside. That was the only way that they could have known the Capitol building that well.
And there's a lot of
that Mr. Viking Man hat, the shaman that we keep mentioning, he's from here. He's from Arizona. And I'm going to say this: I've never been. I've been to the Capitol. I've been on Capitol Hill once. I've never been inside the Capitol building, and I can guarantee you that Mr. Shaman Man probably had never been into the Capitol before, but he seemed to know exactly where he was going.
Yeah. And he was escorted there by a cop, I believe. I think that's what they're saying. Anyway.
Sorry, I'm angry. I know I shouldn't be, but I am.
That's what happens though. But anybody can tell a lie. Anybody can say anything they want, Yeah. So that's kind of the post-Trump era is, if we can even say we're in the post-Trump era, I feel like it's still a little too early to say that. But it's just a matter of how are we going to discern? This year is going to be about discernment. Mark my words. This year is going to be about discernment. How do we tell what's the truth and what's a lie? And it's about time we start thinking about that.
Yeah.
We should have always been doing it, but for somewhere along the line, I don't know if we just got lazy, too busy.
No, it's
that's dumb and stupid. Who cares?
It's just a matter of like, I don't want to throw your generation under the bus.
Hey, we like it under there.
But it's your generation and the generation right before that. where they have that weird thing about stuff on the internet where it's like, if I read it on the internet, it must be true. Now, I'm not saying that you personally believe that, because you do not. I know that.
Yeah.
And I, as a millennial, do not enjoy avocado toast. I think it's fucking disgusting. But it's those kind of people who are like, I've read it on the internet and it must be true. And the other thing too is that, like, the boomer generation who grew up in front of a TV the entire time is sat down in front of Fox News specifically. Just Fox News specifically. They have no other, like, media dietary supplements that they could possibly take in order to get a different view. Ergo, they believe everything that they say, and everything that anybody else says is bullshit, is political jargon, and it doesn't matter.
Yes, yeah.
And I just think it's crazy that people read stuff online and they're like, that must be true because it's on the internet, and people can't lie on the internet. And it's like, people
yeah,
all the damn time.
I put things on the internet, so I know people lie on the internet.
Yeah. Don't trust your influencers, kids. Just don't do it.
Yeah, and that's big business influencing. That's huge business.
Yeah, of course it is.
Our podcast is in the business of influencing and being an influencer and being a voice.
Yeah, like
for the generations, millennial and Gen Xer right here. That's what we're doing right now. We're putting out things that we feel strongly about. Our truth, whether it's the truth, is questionable. That's up for the viewer to go and find out and investigate and either, come back at us. You can argue with us. You can agree with us. We will take it either way. Yeah. Either way, just click like. That's all. Thank you.
Or just like Bart's just gonna look like a lightsaber. It's just all red.
So one thing to touch on is a while back, like I'm talking like 10 years ago.
Right.
I took a class in app building when apps were starting to really get big.
Crazy thing of apps. Ooh.
Yeah. And I built a few mobile websites. I wouldn't call them apps, although they could be downloaded onto a phone. For some of my clients after I took this class. And I was thinking, who's going to want to read from a phone? Who's going to want to only use a phone, or who's going to like get their information this way? And, this was only about 10 or 12 years ago.
Yeah, I remember it. I was alive.
Yeah.
I was a breathing human being.
Yeah. So this shift is happening right now.
I had cognitive thought, I think, at that time as well.
While I don't foresee us turning into a nation where we only have one news source or a news source that's so filtered and so,
Yeah, I think that
it isn't actually a valid source. I think we're still going to have the cacophony of voices.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be the thing. But I think that moving forward, we're probably going to have even more of a lean in a direction. So either you lean heavily one way or you lean heavily the other. And I think that
there's going to be a lot more scrutiny from inside the government as far as these anger groups. Let's just call them anger groups because they're on both sides of these issues. And these extreme anger groups that they don't have a platform, and people will be deplatformed again. I can see it happening.
Why Nazis? Stay mad. Sorry. Bye, fascists. Again, stay mad.
Because the people who like civilization and democracy, and the people who participate, and the people who want to have a peaceful life and a functional society, can't let that fester, can't let that grow, can't let that have its place at the table. Right. Marjorie something Green. We can't let that happen. And I hope that whoever's able to hold these people accountable does so and doesn't become afraid and spineless, and what we've seen a lot of over the last 4 years.
I don't think that that's the case anymore, because the reason people were spineless was because it wasn't necessarily because of Trump himself. It was because of the office that he held. He held the office of the President of the United States, the most powerful office in the entire country. And Dr. Fauci has addressed it, and he was interviewed, I think, like either the day of the inauguration or after. And they were like, how does it feel to be back on the podium and be able to speak to the American people? Because he was basically shunned away from all of that, because he himself said that he didn't want to go against the will of the president, not Trump, the president, which is a seat that you can occupy. And in a way,
and in his job, he has to be political to that degree, I guess.
Yeah, and you have to,
but when you have somebody who's a respiratory therapist and the MyPillow spokesperson on that podium pushing Fauci out, and you can't, as a human being, clearly see that's going to be a problem.
Yeah. I'm not saying what
I don't know if we have hope for this 2021 to work out so well, because that happened.
Well, it did, but it's done now. It's over. That happened. It's gone, for the out of sight, out of mind. It shan't happen again.
People my age are stunned that it could happen. We didn't think it could happen.
Well, it fucking did.
Yeah.
It fucking did. And it's just it's one of those things where we saw what happened, we acknowledged it, and now we have to reconcile with how do we make sure that does not happen ever again. Ever. Never, ever, ever again.
Well,
because
I like to think that Biden and Harris are on a good start because of the transparency, and that's the only way we can make sure it doesn't happen again, is that there can't be any roadblocks and there can't be any lack of transparency. There has to be building of trust between the people who serve the people and the people.
I think that Biden's shtick about being a president for everybody is a good way forward, because if he was just like, I beat Trump, fuck Trump supporters, I don't think that would have gone over very well.
Right. And it's not his job to it's not his number one job. It's not his absolute job to hold Trump accountable. It's the Justice Department's job, and it's the investigators in Congress's job.
It's his job,
and he's going to let them do their job.
Yeah,
that's his what job. I'm hearing.
It's his job to make sure that they're going to do their job, and he's doing everything in his power to do that. Unfortunately, Trump left behind such a fucking shit show that it's just, he's having to. I watched what's his name? Chris Hayes? Is that his name? I think that's his name. The guy with the glasses. He's got a friendly face. He outlined like the next 2 weeks for the White House, and what Joe Biden's schedule is, and it's like climate change on Thursday, racism on Friday, we got fucking coronavirus on Saturday, we got we're joining the WHO again, we're joining the Paris climate, and it's a busy man. He's already very, very busy. And he signed 17, as of this recording, 17 executive orders in his first 4 days as president. 3 days, excuse me.
3 days. 2.5, actually.
Yeah.
So, I'm hopeful, and I'm definitely on board to continue to be a justice watcher.
Yeah, because justice matters.
I
see you, bald guy. I see you, bald guy. We see you. We'll link your YouTube channel down here.
Jen, his YouTube channel is Glenn Kirchner.
Yeah. Jen, yeah.
Glenn and you too can be a justice watcher, and you can be part of Team Justice. It's awesome.
His YouTube channel is fantastic. I think he's really good.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like that he gives like the no BS take on the law.
He
I
speaks
mean,
in he speaks in layman's terms as well. Like, I mean,
right?
it's kind of like with Rachel Maddow, how she shows you the engine and she tells you how it's supposed to work, and then she breaks it apart. It shows you why it doesn't work as she breaks it apart and then builds it
Yeah,
back together.
sometimes her storytelling for me though is a bit extreme, but I think it's because she wants people to pay attention.
Yeah, yeah. And
It's
with
like, hey, wake up,
yeah, with the YouTube platform, and especially the stuff that Glenn Kirshner covers, it was very day to day.
homie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and homey as well, but very day to day and very just like, hey, this is fucked up, and here's why.
yeah, right.
Here's how
You
to
know,
fix it.
and he's been keeping folders. He's got 14 folders on things that he believes that there are actual criminal charges coming down the pike for. So, there are other players out there too. It's not just all just Trump.
No,
It's
no.
it's a lot of enabling, a lot of conspiracy, like not conspiracy theory. I'm talking about just being in cahoots with,
Yeah,
you know,
looking at
um,
you, Russia, side eyeing you super hard. I see you.
and Rudy Giuliani has taken a fall from his status since
Huh.
he was
America's
America's mayor.
mayor. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a cuz
Well,
muzzler.
there were some suspicious things at 9/11 that were never brought to light. I mean, I'm not a huge conspiracy nut, not like QAnon and all that, but
You
you
don't think
know,
that Satanist pedophiles uh,
no,
use jet
no,
fuel to melt steel beams?
no. But
I
I
don't
do
know.
believe there were some other weapons involved and some other coordination involved on that day. And because we didn't have a camera in our pocket, and because we didn't have what we had on January 6th, as far as,
We
you
did. What are
know,
you talking about? There were camera phones back then. Yeah,
eh,
they were, because there's cell phone footage of the towers falling.
not to the degree that we have today.
Yeah, but it's New York. Everybody's fucking like they have.
Nobody from inside posted something on that day.
Well, no, because Twitter didn't exist and Facebook
Yeah,
was a brainchild of a fucking lizard person.
that's what I'm saying. There's video, but not in the moment video.
By
No,
the way,
not while it was happening.
I'd like to clarify. I don't
You saw it
actually.
on TV.
Yeah, you saw it on TV.
That's it.
I'd like to clarify. I don't think that Mark Zuckerberg is a lizard person. I think he looks like one. If one were to exist, he would look like Mark Zuckerberg. He's a freaky fish. That man does not look great.
Well, he spent his days in a closet with a computer, so that's why he looks like that.
I mean, I spend my time locked away in a room with a computer, and I don't look like. Do I look like that? God help me. Do I look like that?
Yeah, you do. You just have
Yeah.
more hair than he does.
Just gotta blink like this way with my eyelids.
You're working on that with your, eyes.
Nah.
A little puffy over there.
Oh yeah, I'm nice and swollen. Yeah, I might look a little messed up this video because I have a skin condition, and I don't know if my camera's gonna pick it up, but that lovely pink is eczema, and it's actually gone all the way up my cheeks and is on my eyelids on the bottom and the top. So my eyes are a little puffy. This is about as wide as I can have them open right now.
Not good, Sarah.
It's all right. I took Benadryl. I'm fine. We're good. I'm not like, my throat's not gonna like swell closed. I'm not gonna be able to breathe or something, or my eyes are gonna swell shut or something.
I hope not.
No,
That can happen. But you better do Benadryl today too, just to make sure.
I'll do it when I go to bed. Because
Yeah.
if I do it in the middle of the day, I'm gone forever. I'm like
Yeah,
Lost Planet.
that stuff knocks me out too. Some people it makes them hyper. but-
How? I'm just like the opposite. If I
Yeah.
need to like be comatose for 12 hours, just give me a Benadryl. Oop, gone.
Yeah, this year is about discernment. We're excited that we're returning to what we feel is something normal in our politics and in our society.
It's so nice to hear a president speak and not talk about low flush toilets in the next sentence after,
Or
because
big giant dumps.
ew. But like, I mean, he must do, because I mean, think about the fact that like this picture, the one where he's standing in front of all the freaking McDonald's and fast food stuff, and he invited those was it a football?
Do you know why that happened? Tim informed me that he did that because there was a government shutdown during those people's visits.
Yes.
And he couldn't get any food in. He couldn't get any catering done by the White House staff.
Yep.
And he was in a pinch. And so he just ordered it local, a whole bunch of it.
Yeah. Wow.
See, he kind of shoots himself in the foot a lot.
I mean, and he could have done that, but he could have ordered it from fucking anywhere. He's the president of the United States. Are you telling me he couldn't have called up fucking Benihana and been like, hey, I need a shit ton of Benihana?
Like, I don't think he would have done Benihana. I could see maybe Boston Market or something like that.
No, I'm talking about like something bougie and fancy, and Benihana was the first thing I could think of. But like, okay.
Yeah.
Like
a little too Asian for Trump.
Yeah, but I was just trying to think of something fancy is what I'm saying. Like, I don't really know fancy steak restaurants because I don't eat steak that often. But it's not fancy or bougie, but like he could have called up Texas Roadhouse and been like, I need a shit ton of fucking steaks.
Yeah, I could see him doing Texas Roadhouse. Yeah. Yeah, he could have done that.
Yeah. He's the president.
Maybe there isn't one close by though, you know.
He's the president of the United States. Does it matter? I didn't think that would be a thing. Yeah. I mean, I guess it would be.
I mean, when you look back, though, that was just a comical thing. That was a thing that happened.
Covfefe was really funny. Covfefe was very funny.
Yeah.
Because it just never got an explanation. And, like, even he tried to be like, wasn't that a gaffe? Ha ha ha. But a lot of it wasn't funny, and a lot of it was just crying and
meanness,
despair, and
just callousness towards humanity.
Yeah, that's the scariest thing. And then to hear that he didn't have a plan at all for COVID because, like,
well, that was obvious since like at the end of March.
Well, that was obvious. Yeah, at the end of March last year, it was clear that he wasn't going to have a plan considering he put Mike Pence in charge of everything. But to get it confirmed just, yesterday or the day before last, where basically he was inheriting everything that the previous administration was dealing with, only to be like, all right, where's the COVID stuff? And they were like, all right, here you go. And I could just imagine it's just this empty manila envelope that just says good luck, asshole, with a post-it note on it. And like there's just nothing there. And just to have that confirmation of like, okay, he really truly does not give a single fuck about the 400,000 plus people who have died of COVID. Good. Perfect. I love that. And by that I mean, how is that possible that you can be that cruel? More people, I read a statistic that more people are dying, they're dying faster of COVID than our soldiers did in World War II. Good God. That's horrific. It's so
well, and until either we decide to test and trace and mitigate and do the things we need to do, until that starts to become commonplace, it will only exponentially grow. So they're saying by the end of February, it could be 500,000. And the next week it could be 600,000, and the next week it could just keep, going up and up and up.
Worse and worse and worse.
So, I think if you're one of those people that are not getting the shot for whatever reason, God bless you, but you're really in a soup of COVID germs out there. I know here in Maricopa County is one of the worst areas.
Number one.
I can't believe that several school districts are still open and students are attending class.
I
can't believe that.
I don't know how that's possible. And you know what really really pisses me off is that Ducey's threatening again to cut funding to certain schools who are
He is.
continuing. Yeah, he it,
Yeah.
and the other thing too is that I'm pretty sure I could talk about this. Um, Tyler's family has four little girls. He's got four little nieces. They're wonderful, and they are doing online schooling through Liberty High School. And Liberty High School is saying, no more, no more virtual learning. You have to come in, because we can't keep having teachers, because they're doing like that. They were shut down at one point, I guess, but then they opened
Yeah.
for hybrid, where it was like you can either go in person or you can be online or you can do a mix of both. And now they're saying like you have to come in person, you can't do online. And like,
Yeah.
I think that's fucking insane. Listen, if colleges can do hybrid where like you show up sometimes,
You
or
know,
you can do online classes because it's college and you could just do it, like
most colleges, the community colleges, they're not doing any in person at
no, they're
all.
not. In fact, I have I I'm subscribed to my old professor for my animation class on YouTube, and he used to he there you go. He used to film um he used to screen record his lectures and upload them to a YouTube channel so you could go home and re-listen to his lecture, because a lot of the times the stuff that he was talking about was super complicated. It was, you know, coding and animation stuff that you just needed to like watch someone do so you could replicate it and then kind of mess with it yourself. Um, so now he's literally just a streamer, essentially. Like he has his own little setup in his office at home, and he's just like uploading videos of his lectures. And like he's got a green screen, and he's like green screened himself in, and like he's like pointing on
Yeah.
the screen and stuff. It's wonderful. I'm really glad that he's adapted in such a way where before, like I don't even think that he would have thought that this would be where his animation classes were going. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, by the way, I noticed that your alma mater is starting a film school.
My who?
Your college.
Oh, okay.
So I guess he's involved in that too, probably.
Probably. I don't really know. We didn't really work with film kids too much
Oh.
in the animation department. Um, the one teacher that I can think of is probably my VPT, a video production course that I took. He's probably in it because he's got the big green screen room and all of the big fancy professional cameras.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. I've noticed that ASU too added a film school.
Yeah,
So,
the graphic design department, I can see them being involved in it. So
oh, definitely.
Michelle's
Yeah,
probably involved in it, but yeah,
yeah,
that's exciting. That's
it
awesome.
is. Yeah, just thought I'd mention that. But truly, here we are in 2021, huh?
It's
So,
nuts.
so we're really getting geared up to hit the ground running. Uh, Sarah, although she's looking not ready to hit the ground running, she is.
More like the
He's
ground,
hit.
more like the
Yeah.
ground hit me and I kept running. It's more along the lines of what I look like.
So me personally, I'm planning to begin painting again.
Nice.
Uh, yeah. So that's a goal that by the end of the month I have my first one finished. Should be. I don't know when we're going to publish this, but yeah, should be along the same time as I'm putting out a newsletter.
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah, who knows? Anyway, we got some Bokksu coming up on this channel.
Yep.
Um, working on some more graphic design projects here. How about you, Sarah? What are you up to?
I am finishing up. I think I'm very, very nearly finished with the game Okami. I've definitely I'm basically at the point of the game where I only have one brush technique. You paint in that game. You play as a dog. Her name is Amaterasu. She's the sun goddess, and her tail is a paintbrush, and you can use it to paint on the screen, and things happen. So you can like set things on fire. You can move water. you can blow the wind, you can make flowers and trees bloom and stuff like that. It's very pretty. I think that series should be finishing up around the end of February, maybe beginning of March. And if that happens, I'm gonna start playing Spyro. Definitely gonna start playing Spyro. I completed. I haven't finished the second game yet because I'm going for like 100% perfect run, and I'm ended up getting into some trouble with a boss that I'm angry at. But those games were from my childhood, so I'm gonna play the Spyro Reignited trilogy. I'm still working on a top secret project, but it's definitely taken quite the back seat on that
Is that the project that starts with a W?
Yes, I think. On the same page here. God, I hope so. Yes, it's just taken one hell of a back seat because
you have to reprioritize your life right now.
Ever so slightly.
Yeah.
Just a touch.
Hey, that happens. Things happen out of order. Yeah. And when you least expect it.
Holy, yeah. Goodness. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes the readjustment period takes a lot longer than you think.
For those of you who missed last month's episode, I managed to land a job in November, and it pretty much has upheaved my entire schedule.
And your private life too.
Just everything.
The sound of it.
Just everything. All of it. Like, it's the one thing that I thought, like, oh, okay, me getting a job, it won't change that. Wrong-o. Like, it's just completely changed now. So I'm like, oh, good. I needed that to change, I guess.
Well, you'll get a new rhythm and you'll get back into something again.
Yeah, I will say, 2020 had destroyed my concept of time. I had no idea what time it was. I typically didn't know what day it was. The only real way I knew like what day it was if it was either a Monday or a Wednesday, because for those of you who are subscribed to my gaming channel, you know that those are the days that I upload. So you know that I'm posting. I just knew that those were the 2 days that I'm posting stuff. But now that I have a job, it's like, wow, I know it's Monday at 4:00. Wow, it's Monday and it's 4:00, and I'm gonna.
Well, it kind of gives you a sense of grounding too. Like, I felt like last year you were super ungrounded. I was a little worried about your mental health there a few times, just because you were just, I don't know, like
everywhere,
you said, like unplugged.
Trapped in my
Sarah Unplugged.
That's what we should have named this podcast.
Yeah. Well, it's just different. This year's different. You can tell this year has a whole different feeling to it.
Yeah, and you can feel the I think it's the air feels pressure outside, despite the fact that it's laden with COVID, but it definitely it definitely, feels a bit brighter. Ignore the fact that it might be snowing or raining in your area right now, considering that we've had our first spout of rain in like 7 months.
Up north.
And snow. Isn't that wonderful?
It's awesome. I'm happy about it. Yeah, it's going to continue to rain into next week too.
I know. I'm not looking forward to what a power outage is going to look like at work, but
well, I think you're going to have power over there in Scottsdale. Come on.
Well, it rains harder out there. You got to remember.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. Another interesting kind of throwback thing is that I remember when podcasting first came out. And
I get ripped on a lot by people. They're like, "Oh, you have a podcast, do you, eh? Yeah? Do you? You're a millennial. That makes sense. Of course you have a freaking podcast, you hipstery bastard." And I'm like, it's not mine. It's not mine.
And truly, it is kind of a hipster thing, or like a trendy even thing to have a podcast right now. But back in the day, it was kind of an elitist thing to have a podcast. I mean, not everybody had a podcast. You had to have a bit of technical knowledge
You had to,
and the ability to store the podcast yourself
and
and
you had to be,
RSS it yourself.
you had to be funny too. You had to
Well,
be funny. You had to be entertaining and stuff. And I
yeah.
think the one that kind of like broke the mold and like got a lot of attention was Joe Rogan's podcast. I hate to bring him up, but I mean, he's funny. Like, I mean,
maybe so. I don't subscribe to many podcasts.
I have a couple.
I liked Between Two Ferns.
That's a good one. I don't
favorite.
I don't listen to Joe Rogan's podcast. I did for a college project once, but for the most part, like, I know him as the Fear Factor host, and he also hosts the UFC.
He the Fear Factor host?
Yeah, he's the Fear Factor host. He's the original Fear Factor host, and then he did stand up for a while, and now he does UFC commentary on the sidelines of the octagon.
A lot of comedians have gone on to podcasting, especially during this time.
Yeah, and he talks about all sorts of stuff. He's friends with Alex Jones, the fucking nutter.
Oh jeez.
Yeah. Oh my god. If I'm going to watch it, I'm just gonna watch it to like laugh at them because they're just so nuts and their views are so weird and crazy. But like, there's Joe Rogan, and the reason he kind of broke it was because like he was the first podcaster to like make buku dinero by doing it, and everybody was like, well, hell, I have a microphone and a computer.
Yeah.
And I have 5 friends that I could use as guests. I can fucking do it. Are you kidding me? He's not even charismatic, and like they do it. It's terrible.
Well, the look you gave me when I said, Sarah, we need to start a podcast, and it's going to be about us being different generations and talking about topics that we're going to have difference of opinion. You looked at me like,
well, because
I'm not doing that.
Well, because my concern, and it's still a valid concern that I still have, is that a lot of people listen to podcasts while they're doing other things. For instance, I listen to podcasts while I'm at work, while I'm tip-tapping away. And I if I don't find their conversation, even in passing, even just, you know, like I'm not really listening to them, I'm listening for other things, but I just in passing, if I can't find their conversation even remotely enjoyable, I skip it. And I either move on to the next episode in the podcast, or I find a completely different one to listen to. So the other issue is I don't think I'm funny. I make myself laugh. I can make her laugh very easily. It's very simple, but I don't think I'm funny. And I'm sure that there are people out there who think I'm funny. How? Why? Can you tell me your thought process? Let me know in the comments or something, because like I don't think I'm funny. But
you have kind of a dry sense of humor. You don't have like a silly sense of humor. I have a silly sense of humor. Like, I thought that erection comment was hilarious. I'm still laughing about that. But that's not something that you would find hilarious.
It would be funny in the moment. Like, if I was sitting in the, like, on the Senate floor listening to him talk, I'd have fucking laughed like hell. But
I'm surprised nobody did.
but if I'm not there in the moment and something really kind of silly like that happens, like, whatever. Like, I guess it's funny, but
But you have kind of almost like a satire to you sometimes.
My whole life is a satire. I'm pretty sure.
True.
Pretty sure it's
just by nature.
Yeah, it's I'm essentially a Greek character in a satirical play. Like, that's just my life. But
yeah, so to get back to podcasting, my clients, they had me set up their podcasts and then teach them how to RSS, stream their content.
My goodness.
Yeah, back in the day. Yeah. I had several people that were podcasting They didn't do it for long. A lot of them fell into the beginner's trap where they didn't have enough episodes to keep going.
Yeah, because
It ran out of content.
that was
Yeah.
the other thing is like, you know, if we can't be entertaining, if we can't be funny, what the hell are we gonna do after the first episode? Because the first episode,
Yeah.
you're full of vim and vigor. You're like, fuck yeah, let's go. Like if you watch that first episode, we're about it. Like, and by the first episode, I don't mean the first recorded episode. I'm talking about this style. So the very first one, which I think is climate change and cruising. I'll link it in the iCards.
Yeah, it wasn't a great videography session.
Well, no, because it was our first.
And it was an awful sound session as well, because it was our first one. Yeah,
it was our very first one. Yeah, and a lot of people like it. Like that thing has.
I think it was because of the cruising. That was a big topic at
the
time.
And of course, because COVID was such a big deal at the time that we recorded that. I mean, that was like 2 days after we had the lockdown orders from the top there. So
true, yeah.
And
I just want to say thanks so much to everybody who watched our last episode of the year.
Thank you so much.
Oh my God, it's like, did we go viral just then? That's how I felt.
We uploaded it, and like I typically do all the back end stuff. So like all the video uploading, the descriptions that get written, that's all me, and the video editing, obviously, that's all me. So I uploaded it and I was like, set it and forget it, just upload it. And then we started talking about doing podcasts for this year and like what our episodes might be about and like, you know, where we're going to swing and like what kind of content we can do, what kind of branching out, like kind of weird things that we might be able to do using this format. And while we were talking about it, I was like, let's check our analytics and let's just see like where we went right about certain topics, like where we could improve on stuff. And we pop it open and we look and it's got like, I think the last time we checked it had 53 views, I think, which is a bit nuts. To put it in perspective, my gaming channel videos get 2 per video, and I know exactly who those 2 people are. It's you guys. And that's
just on YouTube. On Buzzsprout, it's many more.
Yeah, that's just here on YouTube. Obviously, over on Buzzsprout, we have Pandora, Spotify,
Apple.
Stitcher.
I mean, it goes way further. But to get that on YouTube is like unheard of.
Yeah, we were like, holy crap. So then that led us down the rabbit hole of like, well, where did this go with everything else?
Yeah.
Which was insane. So thank you guys so much for listening.
And it actually boosted some of our older videos too.
Yes.
Because it referred new people to our channel. So we're excited to see what this video does when it gets out there.
Yeah.
Well, Sarah, I think we should wrap it up. What do you think?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, join us next month. Not sure exactly what our topic is. I believe it's Bokksu. I could be wrong.
I think it's Bokksu and Valentine's Day.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's also Black History Month next month as well.
Black History Month. Yep. Yes. Okay, peace out, everybody.
Bye, everybody.